We are counting down the 10 seemingly routine hull repairs that will get your boat and your wallet kicked straight out of the marina. From innocent maintenance moves that trigger instant environmental citations to everyday tools and friends who become liability landmines, each entry on this list exposes a hidden regulation or an insurance clause waiting to end your do-it-yourself dreams. Some of these will cost you thousands for a single misstep, while others will burn your name onto every yard manager's blacklist. Which repair tops the list as the fastest route to eviction? Let us start with number 10. Hiring a diver to scrub your hull in the slip feels like a shortcut until the marina manager spots bubbles in the water and checks the dive log. In California, in-water cleaning of ablative bottom paint is tightly restricted. The State Lands Commission and the Water Board require a special permit for any diver scraping hulls, and most marinas ban the practice outright. The reason is copper. Every pass of the diver's pad releases a plume of copper-laden paint into the harbor. Even a single cleaning can push copper levels above water quality limits, triggering state inspections and mandatory haul out. Federal Vessel General Permit rules ban cleaning that leaves a visible plume. In Washington and Florida, marinas often follow the same best management practices. No diver work is allowed unless it is pre-approved and documented. If a diver is caught cleaning without authorization, the job stops on the spot. The boat is flagged for haul out, and the owner's name lands on a list that travels from office to office. The fastest way to lose your slip isn't a power tool. It's a diver with a brush in the wrong state. A Saturday in the yard. You're wiping down your hull and your friend Dave climbs up the ladder, bucket in hand. He's done this a dozen times, no paperwork, just a handshake and maybe a pizza at the end. But the minute Dave touches a buffer or a scraper, the rules change. In the eyes of the marina and their insurer, Dave is now a contractor. It does not matter if you pay him cash, beer, or just say thanks. If Dave slips, breaks an ankle, or drops a tool on the next guy's boat, the liability lands squarely on the marina's desk. That is why every yard contract now demands proof, a certificate of insurance, usually $1 million in coverage for anyone working on site. No certificate, no work. If the yard manager catches unauthorized labor, the job shuts down immediately. Worse, if there is an accident and no policy, the marina's own insurance is on the hook. One injury claim can get the entire yard's policy cancelled. You're not just risking your slip, you are risking theirs too. The contract language is blunt. All outside labor must be pre-approved and insured. No exceptions for friends, family, or favors. A boat sitting on jack stands looks stable. It isn't. Those steel stands only work because the weight is perfectly balanced, so shift one and the entire load path changes. The hull flexes, pressure moves, and what felt solid can turn deadly in seconds. Every year, boats collapse because someone decided to loosen a pad or nudge a stand to reach a patch of paint. The result isn't a scuffed hull. It's a crushed ladder, a snapped mast, or worse, a fatality. Insurance companies have written it into every policy. If an owner adjusts blocking, coverage is void. That is not just fine print. It is a direct line to eviction and a black mark that follows you to every yard. Boatyard standard operating procedure is clear. Only trained staff touch the stands, no exceptions. The moment a manager spots a wrench near a support, the job stops and the owner is escorted out. There is no debate, no warning. If the boat falls, people die. That is the rule. Never touch the stands. 3 orange cords snake across the gravel, plugged end to end, running from the power box to your boat. That is the classic daisy chain, and it is the fastest way to get your cord cut and your power shut off in any marina that cares about its insurance policy. Every extra connection adds resistance and heat. By the time you plug in that buffer or that shop vac, the last cord in the line can be running hot enough to melt the insulation. The American Boat and Yacht Council, ABYC, calls it a violation of E11, their electrical safety code. One overloaded cord can spark a fire that wipes out a row of boats. That is not theory. Insurers keep records. They know how many fires start with a daisy chain, and they send adjusters to walk the docks looking for violations. Marinas get audited after every claim, and a single photo of a daisy-chained cord can trigger higher premiums for everyone. That is why you will see yard staff with bolt cutters and a trash can. No warning, no debate. Unsafe cords are confiscated on site. If your power goes out and your cord is missing, you just failed the safety test. The rule is simple. One cord, marine grade, plugged straight in. Anything else, and you are out. A roller loaded with bottom paint seems harmless until you push it too fast. Each stroke throws out a mist of microscopic droplets. In a breeze that cloud travels, it lands on your neighbor's hull, the dock, the manager's truck, anywhere but your own tarp. Now you are not just repainting your boat, you are paying for a full detailing on the $2 million sport fisher next door. One overspray complaint, and the yard manager starts taking photos. The invoice for remediation shows up before your second coat dries. That is not a warning, it is a bill, and it is usually north of $500. If the droplets reach the water, the marina faces a violation under its stormwater permit. Every best management practices document spells it out. Paint application must be contained. That means a skirt around the hull, a barrier at the waterline, and a ground tarp that stretches past the drip zone. No skirt, no work. The yard staff will stop you mid-roll and hand you a copy of the rules, right before they call the next owner on the wait list. The risk is not just a blue streak on the concrete, it is third-party property damage, and the marina's insurance carrier keeps records. The moment a roller turns into a spray gun, you are done. A single quart of engine oil spilled on the yard gravel does not just vanish. Oil bonds to concrete and stone, leaving a stain that soaks in deeper with every rain. The old trick, kicking dirt over the puddle or hosing it toward the drain, does not just fail. It triggers a remediation order. Under every modern stormwater best management practices document, any visible oil spill must be contained, reported, and cleaned up with absorbent pads or a granular compound. If you leave a slick, the marina is required to document the incident and bill you for cleanup. The average charge is $1,800 minimum. If you refuse to pay, the marina can place a maritime lien on your boat, meaning your slip and even your vessel are now collateral for a stain the size of your hand. The lien language is buried in every slip agreement, right next to the indemnity clause. No amount of arguing about old school methods will get you off the hook. The remediation ladder is written into the best management practices. First, absorbent pads. If that fails, a full surface extraction. Every step is logged. If the oil reaches a drain or the water, the marina faces a regulatory inspection and possible shutdown. The lesson is simple. Oil and liability do not mix with yard surfaces. One careless change, one drop too many, and you are on the hook for the cleanup and the legal bill. This is not just about stains. It is about liability that follows your boat wherever it goes. A single open bucket of acetone left sitting on the dock is a red flag. Insurance adjusters are trained to spot it from 50 feet away. Acetone is not just another cleaning solvent. Its flash point is -4 degrees Celsius, which means it can turn into a vapor cloud even on a chilly morning. That invisible cloud hugs the ground and looks for a spark. One static pop from a power tool and you have a fire hazard that can clear half the yard. Every marina insurance policy spells it out. Open containers of volatile chemicals are forbidden. It is not just about the risk to your boat. If a fire starts, the entire row of slips could go up, and the insurer is left holding the bill. That is why adjusters walk the yard with cameras, snapping photos of open cans and unlabeled jugs. They log every violation, and each one is grounds for a citation or worse. If your slip is flagged for solvent storage, you will get a warning at best. More often, you will see a work stop order taped to your hull, and you will get a call from the office. The rules are blunt. All solvents must be in sealed, approved containers, stowed away when not in use. No exceptions for a quick wipe down. If you are caught with an open bucket, you are not just risking your project, you are risking the entire marina's insurance. And in 2026, that is a fast track to eviction. The sound of a grinder firing up on a Saturday morning is enough to make any yard manager's blood pressure spike. Fiberglass repair looks simple. Find the blister, grab the angle grinder, and start cutting. The second that wheel bites the hull, you have launched a cloud of glass dust that does not just settle on your shoes. Those fibers are sharp, nearly invisible, and light enough to ride the breeze across the entire yard. It takes less than a minute for the first complaint to hit the office. Someone's eyes are burning, someone's kid is coughing, and the manager's radio crackles, "Shut it down!" That single complaint turns a routine task into an incident. Fiberglass dust is not just a nuisance. Every particle is a respiratory hazard. The EPA and OSHA do not care if you are fixing a cosmetic blister or a structural crack. Open-air grinding without containment is an immediate stop work order. Studies show that respirable fiberglass can lodge deep in the lungs, causing irritation and long-term health risks. Containment is non-negotiable. Grinding must be done under full containment with sealed tents and negative air machines, or not at all. Personal protective equipment alone is not enough. Even with equipment, the work area must be isolated from the rest of the yard. If a grinder is spotted running in the open, yard staff will cordon off the area, post warning signs, and order everyone out until the dust settles. The job is not just paused, it is quarantined, and the owner is called to the office for a written violation. The Best Management Practices document spells it out. Grinders propel dust farther and faster than any sander. Any visible dust on neighboring boats or the ground triggers a remediation bill. The message is simple. Open-air grinding is a health risk, not just a mess. In the marina's eyes, a grinder without a plan is grounds for immediate eviction. Wet sanding looks harmless, a hose in one hand, a sanding block in the other, colored water running down the hull. But that runoff is not just water. It is a toxic slurry loaded with copper, biocides, and paint particles that EPA classifies as hazardous waste. If that blue or green trickle finds its way to a storm drain, it does not just disappear. It becomes a violation of the Clean Water Act, and the fines start at sums that make most boat owners' eyes water. The statutory maximum for a single day's uncontained discharge can reach over $66,000. But most marinas use $25,000 a day as the working figure, the number they hammer into every slip agreement and every best management practices handout. The reality is blunt. Containment is required. Marinas are required by their NPDES stormwater permits to prevent any visible paint-laden runoff from reaching the drains, the gravel, or the water. That means collection mats under your work zone, booms to corral the flow, and a strict ban on letting colored water run free. The yard manager is not just being difficult, he is protecting the entire operation from a penalty that can bankrupt a small business. Municipal inspectors do not care if it was just a quick touch-up. If they see colored water, they can issue a citation on the spot, and the clock starts ticking at $25,000 per day until the violation is fixed. Containment is not optional. Every modern best management practices document spells it out. Wet sanding must be done over impermeable mats, with all runoff collected and disposed of as hazardous waste. No mat, no work. If a manager spots a drip line leading to a drain, the job stops, and the owner is called to the office for a written violation. The penalty is not just a fine. It is immediate eviction, remediation bills, and a record that follows you to the next yard. The days of rinsing your hull and letting the water run are over. In 2026, every drop is evidence, and every violation is a line on your permanent record. The sander in your locker, the one you have used for years, is now the most dangerous tool you own. Dry sanding bottom paint in the open is a one-way ticket off the property. That blue dust on your shoes is copper and biocides, classified as hazardous by every environmental agency in the country. When you sand without a HEPA vacuum, every pass throws a cloud of toxic particles into the air. It does not just land on your hull, it drifts onto the boat next to you, the dock, even the manager's truck. The neighbor's paint job is now your responsibility, and the average bill for detailing another owner's hull starts at $500. If the yard staff find blue streaks on the ground, they will swab the concrete, bag the evidence, and add the cleanup to your invoice. It is not just about the mess. 90% of marinas in the US have banned open-air sanding outright. The best management practices document, usually buried in the fine print of your slip agreement, spells it out. All sanding must use a vacuum system with HEPA filtration. No exceptions. The capture efficiency for a proper setup is over 99%, but the minute you skip the vacuum, you are contaminating the yard. Managers have stopped arguing. They hand you a notice of violation and call the next name on the 3-year wait list. Repeat offenders get blacklisted. That means your name is passed from office to office, and every yard in the county knows you are a dust risk. The rules are enforced with zero tolerance. Staff patrol the yard, watching for clouds of blue or red dust. If they spot sanding without a vacuum, the job stops. Your sander is confiscated and your access card is deactivated. No appeals, no second chances. The only legal way to sand bottom paint is with a festool or similar unit sealed to the hull with a ground tarp underneath. Anything less, and you are out. In 2026, the open-air sander is not just illegal, it is radioactive. Touch it, and you are gone. Across all 10 repairs, one pattern stands out. Marinas now regulate every move to protect their environment and insurance. It's not about fixing boats, it's about controlling risk. The smallest misstep, from dust to a dropped cord, can cost you your slip. In today's boatyards, compliance isn't optional, it's survival. Drop your thoughts below. How have these new rules changed your boating life?